Hello guys, welcome back to part 8 of creating Procedural Dungeon Generator. My name is Nicholas from Exolvate Games team, and in this part we are going to do a couple of things. The first one will be a boss room that is spawning instead of a last room that is spawned inside our dungeon. The next thing that we are going to do, we are going to create a logic for linear dungeon. Okay, so I assume that you know what I mean by that, but if you know, I'm actually going to show you via the short clip what is that linear dungeon. Okay, so I'm going to put that in an edit, and basically we are going to do some smaller additional things between those two things. So let's get to work. So the first thing that I want to do, and that is not actually the boss room, but that is a one thing that is just going to basically make our generating of our rooms prettier. Okay, so we are going to create some kind of generating room behavior every 0.01 seconds. Okay, so don't worry guys, I'm going to show you what's that. So we basically need to go to our dungeon generator header, and here we are just going to declare a new timer. Okay, so we are going to do that below this declaration of our seed. So we need to type f timer handle, and I'm going to name it something like spawning room handle. Okay, so now we need to go to our dungeon generator .cpp, and we need inside our spawn next room function. Here we are just going to basically comment this. Okay, and here we need to type get world. Okay, so now from that world context we need to get timer manager, and we need now to get a set timer function. Okay, from that get manager, and basically we need to pass in some parameters. The first one will be a timer that we are triggering, so that will be this spawning room handle, or actually handle, not a timer. Okay. And basically we need to pass in this class right here, and now a function that we are going to trigger. So that will be this spawn next room. So we need this ampersand sign, and from the a dungeon generator we need to get a spawn next room function. And the next one is basically after how many seconds are we going to call this function. Okay, so we are going to do that after 0.01 seconds. And are we going to loop that? No, we are actually not going to do that. And now I think that we actually can test it out now, because I want to show you what I mean by saying the behavior of generating our rooms one by one. So okay, if you have noticed, we have generated all of our rooms all at once. Okay, so now our rooms are going to be spawned one by one. So if I just click on this begin button, what is going to happen? Actually, our Unreal Engine is going to crash, and that's because we are trying to spawn our coins and our chests, but we actually don't have our dungeon generated yet. So we are going to comment that, and we are going again to compile our code and launch our Unreal Engine in order to test it out, and I hope that now everything is going to work pretty fine. Okay, so let's wait a little bit, and here we are just going to click on our play button, and you will see that now actually you have noticed that our rooms are getting spawned one by one. Maybe it is getting spawned a little bit too quick, but here we are just going to increase a rate of our of spawning the each room, so it will spawn every 0.1 seconds and not every 0.01 seconds. Okay, so let's compile our code, and again let's launch our Unreal Engine. So now if I click on this begin simulation button, you will see that our dungeon is basically getting generated in this way. So it has a prettier way of generating itself. Okay, so now if I again click on this begin simulation, yeah, it is spawned pretty alright, but our closing walls are not getting spawned, or actually they are getting spawned. Okay, so don't worry about that, we are going to fix that in a moment, don't worry. And now if I basically close my Unreal Engine, I'm just going to here also comment this, and how we are going to fix that. So we need a logic behind getting a moment when our dungeon is completed. Okay, so whenever it is finished with generating. So the way that we are going to do that, we are going to actually declare a new boolean where we are going to store if our dungeon is completed or not. Okay, so we are going to do that below this declaration of our spawning room handle. So we need to type a bool, and don't worry about these red lines, it's just an IntelliSense that is showing us that, but everything is all right. You will see later when we compile our code. So bool b, or actually b dungeon. Okay, so b for the boolean, dungeon completed, and it is going to have a default value of false, and we need to go to our dungeon generator.cpp. And here for this if check, so if our room is greater than 0, whenever it gets to the point that this check right here is not true anymore, our room is going to be, or not our room, but our dungeon is going to be completed. Okay, so we are not going to spawn again the new room. Okay, so we need an else check where we are just going to initialize our dungeon completed boolean to be true. Okay, so in that way we know that our dungeon is completed. So now we are going to use one thing, and that is a tick. So basically this function right here, this override function, is getting called in every frame. So basically in every moment we are going to check if our dungeon is completed or not, and here we are using the truthy or falsy values, so we can just put it like this, and we are going to check if that's true or not. So basically we are doing the same thing like this. So if the dungeon completed is equals to double equals to true, but you can do just like this, and if it is completed, we are now going to uncomment these 4 lines, and we are just going to copy them and paste them. So now we need to move those 2 declarations of our timers that we are using for our close unused exits function and this spawn doors function. Why? Because at the moment they are just local variables, but and we can use them just in the begin play. But if we go to the dungeon generator.header file and below this dungeon completed boolean, we declare these 2 timers, our red line is going to disappear actually. And now we are going to be able, when our dungeon is completed, to call these functions. And the one thing that we need to do is basically initialize this dungeon completed to be false in order to call all of these ones. Okay, so if I basically leave it like this, our all of this is going to be called in every frame, and that is not something that we know that we want. It is going, we are going just to get an infinite loop. And if I basically again initialize my dungeon completed boolean to be false, we are just going to call all of this that is in this code block right here. We are just going to call that once. Okay, so I said many things in a short period of time, so yeah, if anything is unclear, feel free to reach to us now throughout our Discord server, or basically just write your comments down below. Okay, so now I have compiled my code and launched my Unreal Engine, because I want to show you that we have actually fixed those bugs that we had. And now if I basically start the simulation, you will see now that we are actually correctly spawning the coins. We are the chests. Okay, so we have these chests, okay, to say like that. You can just put some other static mesh. We have coins, we have our walls that are closing the every unused exit actually. So yeah, we have succeeded with that, and we have made this behavior that I have wanted. Also, that behavior have the reanimation inside his course. Okay, so I wanted to make the mine version, and that is pretty same. So the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to implement the logic behind spawning the boss room. Okay, so let's or actually, are we going to close our Unreal Engine because we need to actually create a new C++ child class from our room base parent class for our boss room. Okay, so right click on room base and then create C++ class. So we are going to name it something like rb underscore boss room. Okay, and we need to click on create class. So let's wait a little bit. Okay, so now if I go to my code editor, you will see this message right here. I have explained many times, so I'm not going to again explain what is this message right here doing. So just click on the reload all. And now basically the first thing that we need to do, we need to go to our bossroom.header, and here we are just going to type protected, and below the protected we are going to declare actually 4 variables, I think. So yeah, actually there will be 4 variables. Okay, so each of them are going to is going to have the same specifier, so visible anywhere, and we are going to put it inside the category of components. The first one will be static mesh component, and it will be just a closing underscore wall underscore 1. I'm just going to copy and paste it 3 more times. So closing wall 2 and closing wall 3. And the last one is going to actually be also the static mesh component, and that will be just a red plane. Okay, so something like this. You will see what is this. So now let's basically also under the protected, let's declare constructor. So ARB boss room, and let's create a definition for that constructor. Okay, so like I said, this constructor is getting triggered whenever we compile our engine. Okay, so let me just see. Okay, so now let's get this closing wall 1. Let's create a default sub-object for that component. So the same process. Okay, so we have been throughout this process many times, so I assume that you know what is this. Okay, so it will be just closing underscore wall underscore 1. Okay, so let's just copy and paste this 3 more times. Okay, so one for closing wall 2, one for closing wall 3, and one for our red plane. Okay, so we are going to name it a red plane, and here we need to change to closing wall 2 and closing wall 3. Now let's attach them to appropriate folder. So each of them is going to be attached to a geometry folder. Okay, so geometry folder. Okay, so red plane here, red plane. closing wall 2 and closing wall 3. Now I think, or actually, let's go to our Unreal Engine, let's close it, and let's compile our code, and after that let's launch our Unreal Engine. So okay, so let's launch our Unreal Engine. So now if I open my content drawer, go to my pdg_files folder, and from this bp underscore dungeon room 1, duplicate it and name it something like bp underscore boss room. Now if I basically open it and click on open full blueprint editor, go to my class settings, and now we will just reparent it to be a child class of rb underscore boss room. Okay, so let's reparent it, and after that we will get all the components that we need. Okay, so closing wall 1, closing wall 2, closing wall 3, and a red plane. So where it is? Okay, so there it is. Let's do the thing about the red plane. So it will be just a plane that we will put on the floor, and that will be just a red to show that it is a boss room. So let's, for the static mesh, search for plane. Okay, so there it is. We are actually going to get the scale values of this. We are going to get the scale value of this floor right here, and we are going to put it inside the plane. Okay, so paste it. And what we're going to do next, we are just going to move it to be in the center of our room. Okay, so let's increase it to 1000. No, not that, but this. Okay, so to be in the center like this, and I'm again going to decrease this step size to 10. But before that, let me just find an appropriate color. So okay, not that. Okay, I'm just going to search for something that is a red. Okay, so not this. I think that there's also a red material. Okay, so that is this that came with the engine. So m underscore default geometry cache material. So, or actually, yeah, I think that that's it. Basically, now we need to put it on the floor. Okay, so let's decrease this a little bit. Okay, so so 101. Okay, so yeah, we have now this red floor in our boss room. So now we can identify that this room is a boss room. So now let's just close these walls. Close these walls, because this is a boss room and it is not going to have any exits. Okay, so for the closing wall, let me actually copy the scale values of this wall right here, and for the closing wall 1, let's paste them. Let's search for SM cube. Let's compile it, and let's for the material search for basic asset 02. The z value of our location is 100, and we are just going to move it here, or actually we need to increase the x value of our scale to 8, and that will be pretty alright. Let's copy those scale values, and let's do that for our closing wall 2 and closing wall 3. So let's paste the scale values. The z value of our location is 100. Let's search for SM cube, and for the material, let's set the basic asset to 02. Okay, so something like this. Let's rotate it, and let's put it here. Okay, so in order to close this wall also. Okay, so this is not perfect, so we need. Okay, so now this is a perfect, and now let's close this wall right here too. Let's for the closing wall 3, let's paste those scale values. Okay, and for the z value of our location is going to be 100. The static mesh is going to be SM cube, and let's just change material. So let's put it basic asset 02 material, and let's move it here. So in order to fill this one last exit. Okay, so this is not perfect. We need to do something like this, and now it is actually perfect. So now we have this boss room. If you want, you can add some spawn points, but I'm not going to do that because this is a boss room, and probably you are going to have some kind of AI here, some kind of a boss inside that room. Okay, so that's why it is called a boss room. Let's save it and compile it. Don't forget to compile. Now basically we need to go to our code editor, and now, or actually let's go back to our Unreal Engine in order to close it. Because we need to go to our dungeon generator.header to declare a new variable, where from the drop-down menu we are going to choose what is the boss room is going to be. So what boss room is going to be for us inside our dungeon. So here below this, or actually I'm going to copy this, and above this closing wall we need to declare boss room. Okay, boss room, and it is going to have a class of ARB, actually ARB underscore boss room, and we just need to import that class. Okay, so by typing class and then ARB underscore boss room. So I think that's it now, or actually we need to do another thing, and that is to declare another function. Okay, so for spawning the boss room, so I'm going to name it something like spawn boss room, and I'm going to create a definition for that function. So what we are going to do, let me just copy, I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it. Here we just need to change from to ARB underscore boss room, but we need to include that. Hashtag include boss room, so RB underscore boss room dot header. And we are going to name it something like boss room, so a basic name. Here we just need to change to RB underscore boss room, and here we are just going to change it to boss room. But actually we need to change a variable of this name. Okay, so boss room to be spawned. Okay, so I think that that's pretty alright. I'm not creative with those names, so you can give it some other name. Who is this red actually? I don't know. That's because we need to pass in this boss room to be spawned. So okay, that is going to be actually spawned. Now we are actually going to destroy the latest spawned room, because like I said, or actually did I say that, but never mind, I'm going to say it anyway. We are going to destroy the latest room that is spawned inside dungeon, and we are going to switch a place with that with our boss room. Okay, so let's just destroy it by getting the latest spawned room reference, and then getting the function that is called destroy. And we are going to destroy an actor that is basically our latest spawned room. And let me just actually take a look at my other project. So we need to actually, about this destroying of our latest spawned room, we need to get the boss room, and we need to set actor location to be basically selected exit point. Okay, so we don't have that selected exit point where it is. Inside spawn next room function, we are actually declaring this selected exit point that is going to be the last exit point. So it is now basically a local variable, but we are going to make it a public variable by going to dungeon generator.header. And let's do it here, declaring it. Okay, so now the red line is going to disappear, or actually we are going to get a reference of our selected exit point, and then we need to get a component component location. And we need to do that basically for our rotation. So set actor rotation, and here we need to get component rotation. So component rotation, and basically the last step that we need to do is just call that spawn boss room function. So we are going to do whenever our dungeon room is completed. So let's get to that spawn boss room function, and let's call it inside our tick. Here above this initialization of our dungeon completed to a false, we are just going to call that function. So here I'm just going to delete these two timers, so we don't need them anymore. We are also going to delete those declaration of timer handles. Okay, so let's just delete that, and now let's just call those functions. Okay, so close unused exits and spawn doors. Okay, so it is going to be called in a moment whenever our dungeon is completed with generating, and also our boss room is going to be spawned. So now let's just compile our code and let's launch our Unreal Engine in order to test it out. And now if I click on my dungeon generator and here, okay, so it is in the same category. We're going to fix that in a moment. And here for my boss room to be spawned, select on my BP_boss room. Now I think that when our dungeon is completed, our boss room is going to appear. Okay, so let's wait a little bit. And yeah, actually our boss room as a latest spawned room is spawned. Okay, so you see that our room is spawned. Let's test it out again. Okay, so you see this is a room, this is a latest spawned room, and instead of a basic room, our boss room is spawned. And yeah, basically excellent moment. I want to show you that inside this system we have one bug, and that is that we are actually spawning these chests and these coins. So why is that? Okay, so whenever we are spawning the room, we have already spawned a room, and also we have spawned already some other room on the top of that room. Okay, so but the logic that we have implemented is that whenever a room is spawned on the top of the other one, that room that is spawned on the top of the other one is going to be destroyed, but we are not actually deleting these floor spawn points. Okay, so basically that's the reason why we are still getting the coins and the chests that are floating. So we still have those floor spawn points. And yeah, that is from the room that is removed, but still we are getting those floor spawn points. So let's fix that, and yeah, basically the cool thing that we have implemented the boss room. So we have did that part of a job. So this is also this bug is also something that we need to do, and what I meant by doing some additional things is one of these things, or basically fixing this bug right here. So I know that I'm talking too much, guys, but sorry about that. I'm just trying to explain some things as much as I can. My English is not my plural language, and I'm still trying to give you as much details as I can, so sorry about that, guys. Let's now close the Unreal Engine, and don't forget to click on this Save Selected. And we need to go to our spawn next room function. So here, whenever we are actually, let me just take a closer look before saying anything. Okay, so for these floor spawn points, you will see that actually we are storing those floor spawn points inside the latest room spawn point array. Even if our beacon spawn boolean is false, we have declared this beacon spawn if we can spawn that special room, but we are actually spawning anyway those floor points even if our room is getting destroyed. So we need to move those two lines of code here inside this code block. And also, I don't know if you noticed, but we have also a bug with our doors. Basically the same thing as our coins and chests. Those doors are getting spawned on the place where they don't need to be spawned, or basically from the previous room that is removed. Okay, so let me just find a place where we have stored those locations. Okay, so yeah, there it is. This door list dot add selected exit point. So that is this thing right here. We are just going to move it to be inside this code block. Okay, and basically we have fixed our bugs. Now we can compile our code in order to test it out. I want to show you that we have actually fixed our bugs. So now if I begin the simulation, you will see actually every time when you create a new dungeon that everything is going to be pretty alright. Our coins and chests are going to spawn pretty alright, and there will be not any more floating floor spawn points. Okay, that was from the previous rooms that was destroyed. Okay, because of overlapping with the other rooms. And now I want to show you another bug that we are having inside our inventory, and the perfect timing. This is this bug right here. This is this room right here. That is non-square room. So that room is still overlapping with all of our rooms, and that is something that we need to fix. Okay. And after that we are going to do something interesting. We are going to create a linear dungeon system. Okay, so let's close our Unreal Engine, and we need to change some logic for our remove overlapping rooms. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are just going to copy this, so don't forget to copy this, and we are going to delete this. Now we are also going to delete this getting of our get overlapping components function. So just delete it. And now from that cast we need to get a function that is called is overlapping actor. So what we are doing here, we are going for each box component. We are going to check if it's overlapping with any of our rooms, but now we need to actually create an array where we are going to store all of our rooms that are spawned, and for each room we are going to check if this box component is overlapping with that spawned room. Okay, so let's go to dungeon generator.header. And we are going to do that below this latest room spawn points. So we need to type tarray, and it will be a class of a room base, because all of our rooms are child classes of this room base class. Yeah, okay, so that is an actor, and we are just going to name it something like spawned rooms. Okay, so I think that that's pretty alright. Now we need to go to our dungeon generator.cpp and go to our spawn next room function. So now let me actually see where we are going to do that. Okay, so we are going to do that below this right here. We are going to type spawned rooms dot add, because we want to each time when we call the spawn next room function, we want to add a new element to our spawned rooms array. And what we are going to do to add to that, yeah, you guessed, that is the latest spawned room. So each time we are adding the latest spawned room inside our spawned rooms. And now what we are going to do here, we are actually going to, let me just actually. Okay, so I'm just going to comment it. And now here we need to do for each loop that is going to be a room base, and I'm going to name it something like room. Like I said many times, this is going to be each element of our spawned rooms array. So okay, we are doing not that, but we are doing for each loop of our spawned rooms array. And now what we are going to do, we are just going to check if, now we need to uncomment this, copy that, and we need to check if our box component of our room, of our latest spawned room, is overlapping with any of our rooms. Okay, so we are just going to pass in this room, because we are doing the for each loop, and basically if it's overlapping, what we are going to do, okay, so I actually lost these 3 lines of code, but we just need to increase room amount by 1. We need to declare or to initialize our beacon spawn to be false, and we need to basically delete the latest spawned room. Okay, so destroy, and now finally we have did everything that we have needed. I hope that we have actually fixed our bug. Okay, and I also hope that you have understand what we have did here. Okay, so let me just explain again what we have did here, and actually we can delete this. So we are actually storing all the box overlap components inside our overlapped rooms array. Okay, so maybe we can just rename it to be something like overlap box components, and that is a name that is making more sense. Okay, so we are storing those box components of each room, of each latest spawned room inside the overlap box components array. We are doing for each loop for those box components, and we are also doing the for each room for every room that is spawned. From each latest spawned room, we are getting that box component, doing the cast, because we need to get this is overlapping actor function. Okay, and we are actually getting that box component of each latest spawned room. But before doing anything, we are checking if that box component of the latest spawned room is overlapping with any of our previously spawned rooms. Okay, and if it is overlapping, actually we are just going to destroy our latest spawned room. We are not going to spawn any spawn points or anything that is here in this code block right here. We are not going to do anything, and we are going to increase the room amount by 1. Okay, so that is basically the logic. Now let's compile our code and launch our Unreal Engine. So now if I actually begin the simulation, let me just click on my dungeon generator. Okay, so I have again decreased my room amount to be 20. Okay, so let me just, or actually I'm going to increase it to be 60 again. Because if we have more rooms inside our dungeon, there's more chance that we are going to notice a bug that is hiding. Okay, so let's just begin the simulation, and let's see now if I actually have a non-square room that is overlapping with the other rooms. Okay, so I actually have not, and if you did the same thing as me, you're not going to actually have this bug anymore. So we have actually fixed everything that we have needed, and we are still for the 60 rooms. We are still spawning the 6 special rooms. Okay, so that is a cool thing that we implemented in our system, and we have basically fixed that bug. Okay, so basically the next thing that we need to do, we need to create a linear dungeon logic. Okay, so we are basically we are actually first going to decrease our room amount to be 20. Okay, I'm going to close my Unreal Engine and save. Just click on save selected. So the next thing that we need to do, we need to go to our dungeon generator.header. But actually, let me just check something. Okay, so here I'm just going to change the category of my boss room to be spawned to rooms. Okay. And the next thing that we need to do, we actually need to declare a new variable. Okay, so we are just going to copy this and we are going to put it inside the dungeon info category, and it is going to be a type of a boolean, and now we are just going to name it something like linear dungeon. Okay, so linear dungeon, and now our boolean is going to be exposed inside our engine, and we are just going to check it to be true or not, if we want our dungeon to be linear or not. Okay, so now we need to go to our dungeon generator.cpp, and inside our spawn next room function, below this adding the latest spawned room inside the spawned rooms array, we need to check if our linear dungeon is true or not. So we are using the truthy value, and if it is, we are just going each time when we are calling this spawn next room function, we are going to basically empty our exits array. Okay, so in that way we are just from the each room we are going to get just one selected exit point. Okay, and the other ones will be deleted, and now if I build my code, or actually if I compile it and launch our Unreal Engine, you will see what is going to actually happen. Okay, so now if I click on my dungeon generator, you will see that now we have this boolean right here exposed. Okay, so if I click it on true, we will get the linear dungeon. But now just look closely what is going to happen. Now if I basically begin the simulation, you will see that we are actually getting this crash right here, and you may be asking why. That's because we are running into infinite loop, and you may be asking again why. So when we have a room and another room is spawned in the forward direction of that room, and another room of that room is spawned on the right direction, and then again in the right direction, and again in the right direction, you will actually see that we are spawning the room on the top of the other one, and we are actually trying to delete that room, but still we are spawning on that same selected exit point, the room, and basically we are spawning the room and deleting it, and spawning and deleting, and in that way we are basically into infinite loop. Okay, so what we are going to do it here, you can basically find some other way, but I'm not I was actually lazy to find some better way to do that, but we are just every time whenever we step into that infinite loop, we are going to reset our level. Okay, and we are just going to spawn another linear dungeon. Okay, let's do that right now. We need to go to our dungeon generator.header file, and here we need to declare a new function that is going to be something like restart dungeon. Okay, so in that way we will know that actually this function right here is going to trigger the logic behind restarting the our level. Okay, so let's create a definition for that function, and now we need to basically here we need to declare a new variable that will be a type of an f name. So we need to actually get a name of our current level where we are in, so where we are actually, and we are just going to store that in our current level variable. Okay, so we can get a name of our world by getting the world context. Okay, so basically the world where we are, and the name we can get by getting the function that is called getFName. Okay, so just like this, and now we need to go to the top of our file, and here we need from the keysmet we need to include the gameplay statics. You may be asking why, because in order to restart our level we need to get a function from the gameplay statics that is called open level. Okay, so let's type u gameplay statics, and let's search for open level. Okay, so there it is. Now we need basically to here we need to pass in the world context. Okay, so we need to type just to get world, and the second parameter is actually a level name. Okay, so that is this current level. Okay, and basically we have finished the logic, we have finished our restart dungeon function. Now we need to call that function somewhere, and we are going to do that here in the remove overlapping rooms. So here we need to check if our linear dungeon boolean is true, and if it is, we are just going to call that restart dungeon function. Okay, so let's now launch our Unreal Engine. Okay, so before that let's compile our code in order to see if there's any errors, and now let's launch our Unreal Engine. So now if I click on my dungeon generator and check the linear dungeon boolean, we are now going to basically spawn the linear dungeon, but whenever we get the one room that is overlapping with the other one, we are going to restart our dungeon. Okay, so you see that now we are getting actually the linear dungeon. Okay, so this is going to be a starter room. Okay, so now you will see that we have our linear dungeon, and you will notice that actually we are not spawning the doors and the closing walls. So we need to fix that, and that will be actually the last thing that we need to fix. Okay, and by doing that, we are going to finally finish our procedural dungeon generator system. I actually think that maybe there will be another additional part where we are going to fix some bugs if I find some, but yeah, that will be in that situation. Just so don't worry. But till that, I think that this is going to be the last part. So now let's fix that problem that we are having. Let's just close our Unreal Engine. Let's click on Save Selected. So the way that we are going to fix that, we actually need to declare another array where we are going to store all of our exits. The reason why we are getting that bug is because every time when we call our spawnNext room function, we are actually emptying the exits array. Okay, so we need to create a separate array that we are going to use for our closing unused exits. Okay, so let's just go to our dungeon generator.header, and we need to here type t array and it is going to be a type of view scene component, and I'm just going to name it something like closing unused exits list. So that is pretty alright. Now we need to go to our dungeon generator .cpp, and here we need to get this spawn starter room. We need to basically get the exit points folder, and we need to get the children components. So here we need to pass in false because we don't want any descendants. Okay, so I actually need to get the children components function, and we first are going to pass in the false. Like I said, we don't want any descendants, and we are going to put it inside the disclosing unused exits list array. So let's do that. And now we need to go to our spawn next room function. So, or actually, yeah, we need to go to our spawn next room function, and the thing that we need to do is here inside this code block right here. Okay, so let's get some space, and now we need to get the latest spawn, the latest, not this, but latest spawned room. Okay, so let me just check out something. Okay, so we need to get the latest spawned room, and we need to get to the exit points folder where our exit arrow components are. Okay, so we need to get to the children components function. So let's pass in the false for including all descendants. And now we are just going to, I think that we can use the same array. Okay, so let's just pass in this closing unused exits, and what we are going to do here, we are just going to get to this close unused exits list, and we are going to remove the selected exit point. Okay, so the selected exit point where we are going to store where we are going to put the next room, and in that selected exit point we are just going to spawn a door and not a closing unused exits wall. Okay, so now let's get this closing unused exits list array, and let's just here in the closing unused exits function, here for each loop we need to pass in the closing unused exits list, because we need to loop it throughout that array. Okay, so like I said, we cannot use the exits array because we are emptying it whenever we are calling this spawn next room function. So now finally let's compile our code, and let's launch our Unreal Engine. Okay, and now if I click on my dungeon generator, let me just check if my linear dungeon is checked, and yeah, it is actually. And now if I begin my simulation, you will see that my dungeon is getting spawned, but my unused exits are not getting closed. Okay, so okay, we need to close our Unreal Engine, and basically we need to do, actually I thought that we can do that in that way, but basically we are going to delete this. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are just going to these exit points store from the latest spawned room. We are going to store inside the new array. Okay, so let's just copy this line of code, and let's declare a new array that is going to be latest closing unused exits list, latest room closing unused exits list. Okay, so this is a pretty long name, so I suggest you to not use this in practice, because this is really long and bad, but I'm just using this because I want to make it clear to you. Okay, so let's copy that, and let's now go back to our dungeon generator.cpp. From the latest spawned exit points folder, from the latest spawned room, we are going to store inside that array. And now we are going to get our closing unused exits list. Okay, so we are going to append our latest room closing unused exits list to our closing unused exits list array. Okay, so and basically we are going to remove the selected exit point that is going to be actually where is going to be actually attached on your room, and where we are just going to spawn a door. Okay, so I have said many things in a short period of time. Please guys, if anything is unclear, feel free to reach to us throughout our Discord server, or basically just write a comment down below and our team is going to help you. So now let's launch, let's basically compile our code, and let's launch our Unreal Engine. So now if I begin the simulation, let's test it out. Let's see if our exits are getting spawned, and yeah, actually they are getting spawned. So I thought that we can do that in a way where we are going just to put everything inside the one array, but yeah, we actually need to create two arrays, and then later append one to the other one. Okay, so we have did that thing, and now we have this linear dungeon thing right here. Okay, so you will see that this is going in one line. Okay, so this is a special room, and now we are spawning here room, and yeah, it is actually going to the end where our boss room is going to be actually the latest room. Okay, so now we have finally did everything that we had. Basically, you can maybe find some other way for fixing the overlapping rooms inside the linear dungeon. Basically, I think that this is pretty alright, but yeah, that's on you if you want to expand it even more. I just want to say thank you guys for the big support that you are giving to us. You are just incredible guys, and that means a lot to us. Okay, so yeah, just thank you from the bottom of our hearts. That will be it. Like I said, I'm really proud of you. So basically, the thing that I have to say is if anything is unclear, feel free to reach to us now throughout our Discord server, or basically write a comment down below where our team is going to help you also. So don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next part.